Welcome back, Connie. What is going on?
Nothing. Same stuff, different day.
So this is part two. Last week was part one. Um, Today we talked because I want to start with this. For those who didn't watch Kalani's episode, if you watch Kalani, you find out that Connie was also. Man, you're in 3 weeks in a row, Connie. You're killing the game.
Yeah.
Connie's at the end of her episode. Kalani is Connie's daughter, her oldest daughter. And you watched that episode today. That was a long episode. How was that for you watching it as a mom?
There's a lot of stuff I didn't know.
Okay.
There was a lot of tears because I was just like, oh my gosh, like I didn't realize I had my daughter feel like that. I didn't realize there's a lot of things I didn't realize. There's a lot of things that my family did to her that I didn't know, said to her that I didn't know, things that she was struggling with that I didn't know about. And it's one of those things that you're just like, how did I miss the signs? You know what I mean? And
she's a strong
when
girl. She's a strong girl,
she
man.
is,
You killed it.
yeah, I was just like, it was hard, but at the same time, her story, I knew what had happened to her, but today was the first time I heard the details. So that one was kind
PSA.
of hard. Yeah, with her essay, it was kind of hard. We were friends. We were friends with the family. I was friends with the uncle until um until after that had came out, and I just looked at him and was like, he's like,
Yeah.
what's your problem with me? I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like,
Yeah, right. Oh my god.
yes. Yeah.
What isn't my problem right now, dude?
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
did she watch it with you?
No, she was actually at therapy when I watched it.
Perfect time to watch it.
Yeah, so I had woken up, and before I usually wake up and I come do the mom thing and stuff. And today I knew her episode was going to launch. So I got up and the first thing I did was watch the episode.
Yeah.
And
I hit you up
um
early. I hit you up at like 7:30. I'm like, here it
yeah,
is.
yeah. So I went ahead and watched it. So it was eye-opening as a mom, for sure. I mean, we all make mistakes and stuff, but it's just how you move past those mistakes. So I gotta, you know, resolve things within myself.
Yeah. Now, are you in therapy too?
Right
You
now I'm
mentioned
only
she was in therapy today. Are you in therapy?
no, not right now. Right now I'm in marriage therapy with my
Yeah, me
husband,
too.
and we
Yeah,
do touch on a lot of stuff, especially with our childhood and stuff because we grew up different.
yeah.
But right now, and it sounds so bad, I just don't have the time on my schedule to do individual therapy. I know it sounds bad. I know. But with the kids, like it's been I coaching soccer, working, going to school. I'm at the end of my school and making sure she's okay, making sure she's adjusting to college. My son is dry, so I'm like, and I know I have to take the time out. And I told myself by the end of the year, I will be starting my individual therapy again
Jeez.
because I go in and out, in and out, in and out of therapy. So
Yeah. It's so important to have a consistent therapist, right?
yeah,
And that's the nice thing about the technology these days is you can bounce and still the same therapist because of telehealth.
yeah,
You know, I'm not saying use BetterHelp because they're expensive. You don't use insurance; it's out of pocket.
hmm,
Um, BetterHelp was a sponsor of mine early on back in the day. But there's other sites like BetterHelp that does take insurance companies where you can find, therapists that are technically working late because they're on the West Coast
hmm,
and they might work until 6, 7 on the West Coast with appointments, but really be 9, 10 o'clock at night, and you can end your day with a therapy session.
yeah,
So just keep that in mind. You can always find a therapist like in California, and try to hook it up that way. I can help you. You know what I mean? If you
yeah.
want, I can definitely help you find one. Just because I think therapy is so important.
It
Uh,
is.
The problem with me back in the day was like after Colleen died, I didn't know how to. I never learned period how to process death.
Hmm.
Were you around? You sixth grade is when you moved to Audubon, or fifth grade when you moved to
Fifth
Audubon again?
grade.
Did
So
you
I
know
knew
Chris
Colleen.
Watson? Did you know Chris
I
Pasha
did
then?
not. Chris Pasha passed away right before I got there.
Sixth grade, I thought.
No, I
In
wasn't there
fifth
yet.
grade.
It was fifth when I was in
It
fifth
was
grade.
1999. It was 1999 because I remember it was February 1st, 1999, and he was a year older than me in the grades. So February 1st, 1999 would have been I turned 12 that year in 98. So that would have been sixth grade, yeah, sixth grade. But you probably didn't know him because you probably just were a year apart and he was older,
Yeah.
you know, and you wouldn't get a chance. He was a park kid. Oh, and he went to Haviland and you went to Mansion.
Yeah.
So, he's a park kid. So he went to Haviland. I grew up with him because I grew up in the park.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when I was 11, I started drinking, you know what I mean? And that's when I started, like, no, it was recreational. It was just for fun bullshit. Watching movies on the weekends when, like, I would have a friend sleep over. You know who it was. Wait, there's comments here. I can privately tell you. Let me see if I can tell you because you'll laugh once I tell you. You'll be like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. How the fuck do I do this? I've never sent a comment to somebody, but I feel like you
There's a
should.
little talk thing right here. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. And then I just sent you a.
Oh, yeah, private chat. Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
It's his birthday today. So
Oh,
I texted him earlier this
him.
morning. But anyway, we've been friends since first grade. Like best friends. We met first day of school in first grade. And he would sleep over like every Saturday, every other Saturday. And so he was sleeping over and we would watch like The Outsiders. Remember we read The Outsiders? We were watching The Outsiders a lot. And this is before we even had to read it for school. This is fifth grade, right? And so we wanted to be cool like the greasers and drink. So we went down to my parents' basement and we made Captain and Coke. And we would get drunk as shit having a big glass of Captain and Coke watching a movie.
Yeah.
And then a year later, Pasha died. And let me say his name. He knew, from playing hockey. He knew him from playing hockey. Yeah. I knew Chris from growing up in the park and playing hockey. And because I played Bummer hockey since I was like 4 years old. So I knew him from that. And he was the first person I knew that died. Like legit first person I knew. And that was on a Monday. Like I'm saying, I remember all this shit, it was yesterday. So that was a Monday, 8:00 at night, got the phone call from my cousins. That's who my cousins are.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're like my third cousin, fourth cousin, and the older one was best friends with them. He was best friends with them. So I like this chat thing. So that's nice. I can just tell you what I'm talking about without outing anybody. So I get the phone call from their dad to tell us what happened. Devastated, right? Fucking devastated. That Friday was his funeral and shit, and he got buried up at in Belmar, right off of Bell Road, right there. I'm talking about behind the rest. I'm talking about Browning Road.
Yes.
So me and him, the person that was living in my house, we were walking home from it, and it was a Friday, February, the 4th or 5th. It was cold as shit. And we're just like devastated. First person we know that died. And I was like, make us feel better. And this is the start of me being an alcoholic too. I was like, make us feel better. If we get drunk tonight, if we drink tonight, we're going to feel better. Boom. That's me learning a learned habit of when you're grieving, you drink to feel better over shit.
Yep.
And that continued for the rest of my adolescent, teenage years, 20s. Johnson died, boom, you get fucked up. Pauline died, boom, I get fucked up. My dad dies, boom, I get fucked up. I never learned how to like process death and actually live with it and sit with it. And therapy helps with that. Because like, when John died, I went silent for the week.
Yeah.
Like Johnson died on a Monday or a Tuesday, and his funeral was Saturday. And I legit didn't talk to anybody but my dealer, and I only talked to him because I was texting him, like, "Hey man, I need blah 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 many,"
Mm-hmm.
and he would swing through, and I would buy them. And then at the time, I was living on West Graysbury with my parents,
I remember West
um,
Graceberry.
but like on the Haviland side, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like our backyard faced Haviland School,
Mm-hmm.
and like you could see the Flacco's backyard from our backyard.
Yeah, I know where that's at because
Yeah, and
the boy I used to date lived on that side of town.
oh really?
The only guy that I dated at that in that town.
And that's funny as hell. Yeah, so we lived over there, and there was like a shed in my parents' backyard, and I was like, I want to live in there. They're like, what are you talking about? Like, we have a basement. You can sleep in the basement. Like, you can get set up in
Yeah.
the basement. Like, there's a walkout, and you can just have your own entrance and shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I want to be in the shed. I was like, I run a power cord out to the shed, and I want to be in the shed. I want to be able to smoke cigarettes and like smoke weed. And they were like, fine. And like, so I set up a coffee table in there. You know, I had my what's it called, a futon, you know, the couch bed or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I had my dresser with my TV on it and my Blu-ray player with all my DVDs. And I would just get so fucked up out there. I would just do a bunch of pills. I would chain smoke cigarettes. I would smoke weed all day. I would drink, and you know, no one was the wiser because my parents never came out there.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I would just snort pills all day. And when John died, that's all I did all week. I didn't talk to anybody. I just, if anyone texted me, maybe I would answer, depending on if you knew John or not. But yeah, I just got fucked up all week, and I was a learned behavior. When I got clean, it was April 25th, 2018. Colleen, you know, died July 13th, 2015. And now I'm in LA. I don't know anybody, and it's June 12th, 2018. And I'm with my sponsor, and we're hanging out in Venice where she lives. And she's a graffiti artist.
Mm-hmm.
And she does amateur tattoos for like when you're doing recovery for like free. Like my arms, I have like 21 tattoos from her.
Yeah.
And you know, we're sitting there, and she was like, you know, what's wrong? And I'm like, it's my best friend's anniversary of his death. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to process grief.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, does he have any brothers or sisters? And I said, yeah, he's got 3 sisters. And she's like, you close with him? I said, with 2 of them, yeah, you know, with Jess and Liz.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, she's like, well, reach out to one of them, call one of them if you have their number, and talk to them. Because if you're hurting, that means they're hurting too. And talk to them. So it's actually become a little like of a tradition. I reach out to Liz every year now on the anniversary of John's death. And I tell her funny stories, you know what I mean, like she's never heard before. And I make her laugh. And, you know, that was the best advice I could have gotten, you know, was to reach out to somebody else that's hurting. And then I think I told you last time I took John for his first tattoo.
Yeah, and he got it right across Carpe Diem.
Yeah, so I got it on my arm as a way to remember him too. So now I have Carpe Diem. Right now I'm looking right at it. It's John's right on my arm right here.
Yeah.
And that day she tattooed Carpe Diem on my arm. And you know, it seize the day. And that's Johnson's right there. That's Johnson, seize the day.
Oh yeah, he lived for the moment.
Oh my god.
This kid, I'm like
craziest fucking dude. Like
yeah.
And he didn't have any enemies in our school, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he did, but like in our grade he didn't, you know.
Yeah.
And if people didn't like him, it's because you just didn't understand him.
Yeah.
You know. And he went through so much, like being raised by a single mom with 3 sisters. You know, I can't imagine my dad naming me after himself and then bouncing and starting a new family. You know what I mean? And, you know, it's fucked. And it happened to my wife, too. My wife's name is Mikey, you know, and her name is Michael. Their name is Michael. They're non-binary, they, them.
Yeah.
Their name is Michael, Michel. Their biological father's name is Michael. Wanted a boy. Wife was born. And he named them Michael with EL at the end. And so their brother started calling them Mikey. like Mykee.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been Mikey their entire life. Like when they went non-binary, they didn't change their name.
Yeah.
Um, but when they were two, the dad, this was 1985, so you could do whatever you wanted back then.
Yeah.
Dad just up and left across town and started a new family. Like just pieced out and started a new family. You know,
Yeah.
like Mikey didn't talk to him until the day after he died. Like literally, like never again.
Oh yeah.
Like
No, my father named me after the two nurses that he was flirting with as my mom was trying to push me out. One
and
was
two
Constance,
nurses.
one was Maria. And I'm like, I got this hideous name, Connie Marie. I'm like, it's such an old lady name, but whatever. So when I got pregnant with Kaylani, I said, my rule is I carry him, I push him, I name him because first of all, we're not married. So I'm like,
Yeah.
my kid's not going to be stuck with a name that because if not, Kaylani would be either Alizé or Hennessy. I'm like, I'm glad
Did you say
yeah. He wants to name her
Oh,
Alizé or
Hennessy.
Hennessy. I said, no.
Well, how old were you when you got pregnant with Kalani?
I was 19.
What was that like finding out you were pregnant at 19?
It was scary.
Knowing what, like, you know, your mom got pregnant when she was young, not as young as you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your mom got pregnant young as fuck. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
19 years old, you're not married, and how long were you with the dude?
We weren't. So what had happened was
What happened was
so I was told I couldn't get pregnant. So I had already told myself I'm gonna live my life. I'm gonna be the cool aunt. I'm not gonna have to worry about kids or anything like that. My older brother had his son, so I gave that boy everything he wanted. Then I had surgery, and then 6 months today, my surgery, I got pregnant with Kaylani. He and I were just friends, and then we were drinking, and then we became friends with benefits, and I got pregnant. And we were never in a relationship. And he just, I mean, physically he was my type, but he was raised as an only child, and he was very mature. And he hadn't gone through what I had gone through in my life to make me grow up faster than he did. So I just looked at him like, you're immature. Guys mature a lot later than women. I'm like, I ain't waiting for that.
no, you're right. Yep,
So,
right.
So we were never in a relationship. We did try, he wanted to get married just because we had a kid, and I was like, I'm not marrying you just because I'm pregnant. Like, no, dude, that's not happening.
Was it
And it went
1985?
right. So I tried to have him be in her life and everything, but he struggled with drugs eventually. There was a lot of the first time he dealt with death, he was 11 and his younger brother was 9. He died from leukemia. So his mom never dealt with it, and you can tell when I met her, you can tell. And so she gave him everything he ever wanted. So he was like that spoiled brat kid that if he wanted it, he didn't get it, he'd pitch a fit so he can get it. And I was just like, oh, hell no, like,
Yeah.
But and I think he was still reconciling with all of that, even at 19 years old. Because
How
it's
is that
like,
with me calling out his mom and his dad?
oh, that was freaking amazing. And I'll tell you why. They blame me for every little thing. And I'm like, my kid has had a flip phone. She had a flip phone at 5. Why? So she can talk to you guys. You know what I mean? Like, there were situations I told Kaylani recently because I finally just got fed up. And I'm like, you're old enough now. You're 18. I'm like, the truth of the matter is your grandparents and your biological father try to kidnap you. I said, so they don't like me because I called the cops. Like, you're going to give me my child. This is my child. Like, you don't, I was at work. I was stationed out there for
You never told me this. You didn't tell me this, and she didn't tell me this.
No. So I was in the service, and then I had like this they're like a second job because the military don't pay you crap, and raising a kid is expensive. So I was a caregiver at the same time as well, and his mom stayed with her. And when I was like, I would come home and he'd bring her to me, and he said, I'm not bringing her to you. She's staying with me. And I'm like, excuse you? So I was like, you know what? You can keep her for the night, like, whatever. I can get some sleep. I can get a few hours of sleep. You can keep her for the night. I'll go pick her up tomorrow. When I went to go pick her up, I said, I'm on my way to pick her up. His mom texted me and said, you come to my house, I'm calling the cops and charging you with trespassing. I said, excuse me? I was like, I'm picking up my kid. She goes, no, you're not picking up your child. And I was like, yeah, I am. And it was just a huge
Don't believe me, just watch.
Yep. I called the cops. They went and picked up, they took me over there. I got my kid. We went to court the very next day for an emergency hearing because I was trying to come back to Jersey. And he was like, no, they can't. The judge was like, this child was born in New Jersey. Like, she's not a resident of California. However, since we're here, we can go ahead and do child support. And they hated me. And when his mom was there just running her mouth, the judge looks at her and says, you do realize that because you financially support your child in the state of California, she could sue you guys for child support. And it crossed my mind because his dad worked for NASA and his mom was a real estate agent. She sold multi-million-dollar houses.
What?
I could be sitting pretty, but I was like, you know what? I'd have to deal with them. It ain't worth it. So I said, I just want to go home. Just put whatever. I just want to go home. And that's that. They gave him $100 a month. I was like, I literally could wipe my ass with $100 a month. And I went home and we left it like that. And that was it.
Did it stay like that for the rest of the time that he had to pay child support?
Yeah, he had 30 days to get a job.
This dude was pissed. Wait, what was that about job?
He had 30 days to get a job and go back.
So wait, when Conie and I talked, we had said, she had told me that he was cool with her being adopted and taking that dude's last name because he wouldn't have to pay child support anymore. Mm-hmm. He gave up his last name for $100 a month.
Yeah. I think it was more than just the money.
I'm sure it was more than
his wife had a lot of part to play in it. She didn't like Kehlani from get-go. Kehlani was the first granddaughter, first daughter, first girl just born into that family. So it was like a different, and then when she had a daughter, oh my gosh, I can't even believe I'm saying this because it's just so ridiculous. When she had her daughter, calls his wife. Okay. He calls me and he's like, hey, Ira, that's her name. Ira had the baby. It's a girl. Can I talk to Kehlani? I said, sure. So I put Kehlani on the phone and he's like, hey, you have a baby sister. Her name is Isla. And she was like, oh, great. She was young. She was like 7 or 8, 7-ish, somewhere around there, 6 or 7. And he was like, and you're the pretty sister. I said, what would you say that to her for? So of course his wife held resentment because he told my daughter she was the pretty daughter and basically said his daughter with her was not. And I was like, I said, get the off my phone. Like, you're an idiot. Like, who says that?
And this is the same sister that she had to go there and babysit in Chicago or whatever?
Yeah.
That's wild. She was like 8 years old watching this kid?
Yeah. And that was the first time that she was hit with him one-on-one. And the idea was, I've always told them, when you want to see your dad, I will never keep you guys from seeing your dad, ever. It's not my place to. You make your own judgment. What happens between us has nothing to do with you guys, Yeah. So when she was 8, my mom kind of put the bug in her ear about getting to know him. Because for some odd reason, my mom has this fallacy that she's just like, I know them better than you. Ma'am, I slept with them. I think there ain't no deeper understanding than, than something like that. I share a child with them. She just, so she was pushing the whole getting to meet him thing. And, at 8 years old, Kehlani was like, okay. And then going to Chicago where she's never been. And it was a disaster. Kehlani was calling me all the time and I'm trying to have her but the agreement was he was going to take off of work. Well, he didn't. You left my kid with someone that she didn't even know. Yeah. You know what I mean? Calling her a spoiled brat. He called me saying, Ira is pissed off. I'm on my way to go get Kehlani pizza about some fish that Kehlani wouldn't eat. I said, I don't feed her fish like that. She eats fish, but it don't have the face.
You made her a gourmet fish.
Yeah.
Like a fish with the eyes still in it and shit. Not even tuna fish. As a kid, you give them tuna fish or fish sticks.
There you go. That's what she was just eating. And sometimes she'd have fried whiting, but
some shrimp.
Head, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was getting her a slice of pizza and she pitched a fit because she's just she's a spoiled brat. She needs to eat what's given to her. And I was like, dude, I'll give you if it's about the money, I'll send you the money for the damn pizza. It ain't that deep. It's a slice of pizza. Hell, I'll buy pizza for the whole damn household. I don't care.
$1.45 for a slice.
Exactly. Back then.
Yeah. And Anton's would still be $1.
Oh, I need to go to Antone's.
What's that?
I said I need to go back to Antone's.
I know. I miss that place so much. It was dangerous when we're gonna bounce around. Obviously, it's us, and we did a long one the other day, part one. When we graduated, the next day my family moved to Massachusetts, to Plymouth, Massachusetts.
Oh, wow.
Carver, Massachusetts. Technically, it's the next town over from Plymouth, which is like South Shore, south of Boston, and the agreement was I was going to go to graduation parties and live out of my car basically and just sleep in people's couches for a month. And then we graduated like, I don't know, fucking June 16, 17, 18, something like that.
Yeah.
Mid-June. And then I was going to go to Massachusetts July 5th. So that's what I did. So I partied for like 2-3 weeks or whatever. And then went to a 4th of July, did all that in Mount Ephraim. And then I didn't drink on the 4th of July because I was too like amped up to go to Massachusetts now. So, and Pat came with me, Cummings. So that night, Pat and I drove up in my car, and this is before GPSs. We had MapQuest.
You had to print them off, and
we had to write that shit down. You know what I mean? Like all the directions. But we drove in the middle of the night. We got to my parents' house at like 6 a.m. And then, Pat hung out for like a week and then flew back. And then, we got tattoos and shit. Like, we chilled, and it was my first tattoo. And I didn't get another tattoo again for another 13 years. And now I'm like fucking covered. And what's dangerous is my wife got a few years ago, got a tattoo machine. And then their hands started. And then they gave me like 12 tattoos, like a dozen tattoos in bed. But we didn't have the room. That was our bedroom was in our living room because of their MS. But now we have so much more space. So my wife said, for your birthday, I can get a bunch of new ink and get all this stuff and give you a bunch of tattoos. I'm like, a tattoo party for my birthday? Yeah, let's do that.
Sign me up.
My wife's been practicing because I've been wanting like this done and this side done and my hands and all this. So like, yeah, we're going to tattoo party. And but now, so I think I have 55 right now, counting like small ones. And I'll have a lot more by the time this airs this will air on my birthday. So by the time this comes out, it's my birthday, and I'm gonna have a lot more that day. And but yeah, Pat hung out for the week, and we just drove around Massachusetts and just got to know the area. And then, I got a good job at Best Buy. But a year later, I was going to school full time at night. But I was like so missing Jersey. When I was like 19, 20 years old. I just turned 20 and I saved a bunch of money. And the reason this reminded to tell you, I got my first apartment when I was 20 and it was in Audubon and it was the Commons next to Antone's and Speedy Mart.
Yeah.
So I was the first one out of my friends to have their own place. And it was right next to Antone's and Speedy Mart. I used to have a running tab for cigarettes at Speedy Mart. Like, I would go there and be like, yo, I get paid on Friday. Let me get 2 packs of smokes. And they write down 2 cigarettes, JD, Friday. And I go in there Friday and I buy more cigarettes and I pay them my tab for what I owe. Like, we would go to Antone's at like 10:45, 15 minutes before they close. And they would just dump out the garlic knots into a pizza box for us and just like hook us up with shit, like endless slices.
They had some good ass garlic knots. That's the first place I had. Their cheeseburger pizza was freaking amazing. Like listen, that place, when I go back, like my brother lives in Gloucester City now.
Okay.
So it's not, it's not far. It's like right over. I go to Gitano's, I go to Antone's. Like I can eat my way through Jersey in a week.
And for people that don't know about Antone's, if you're watching this and you're not from our area, well, I'm gonna leave it at this and then we'll move on. Antone's is so fucking good that they don't even offer delivery and they're packed every single day. And they've been in business since we were kids for 25 plus years and never once offered delivery service because they don't have to, because everyone will come to them because that's how fucking good they are.
Yeah, for sure.
Simple as that. Simple as that. We were going to talk about essay stuff today. And because we didn't the other day, we talked more about growing up with your parents and your mom, and kind of verbal abuse and physical abuse with your mom, and then domestic abuse throughout your relationships. That's what we talked about part one. So if you missed part one, that's what we talked about. Hop back over last week's episode. Part two, we were going to talk about SA too, because I don't think we even touched on that shit.
Mm-mm.
I know we talked about with Kilani, just the one, one's enough. It's way too much. But unfortunately with her situation. But how old were you the first time that you were assaulted?
So I was.
Have you talked about this often with people?
I'm sorry.
Have you talked about this often with people?
No, the first time I was in like first or second grade, and my mom's. I will never forget this. I lived in Kings Row Apartments, right there on the wall, and my mom had people over, and my mom's stepbrother was there as well, and we were all hanging out in the room, and he was teaching me and my cousin how to properly kiss. And we're young, we don't really know anything, you know what I mean? We're just like, what the heck,
Girl
So
cousin or boy cousin? Girl cousin or boy cousin?
My girl cousin. So me and her, we call them like we grew up like sisters, even though we were just cousins. Because a lot of times with my aunt, she was like, I've touched on her last week because she was one I was always drunk, and we would take her stuff, and she would think she'd keep buying it, or she would think that it was us. So she was always like in and out, couldn't really keep a place or a job. So they lived with us a lot throughout our life, and so I remember that was the first time.
Now, this was your mom's stepbrother, right?
Mm-hmm.
How old was he?
Oh, he was a teenager.
Okay, because your mom was a teenager when she had you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in first grade. She's in her 20s, but your mom's older than him, obviously.
Yeah.
Was he living with you guys or just visiting?
No, he was just visiting. We would always get together on the weekend.
And you said, is this a one and done situation, or is this happened multiple times?
No, that one was a one and done situation.
Now, was he having you practice teaching you how to kiss with each other or with him?
With him.
With him.
Yeah. So yeah, with him. And my cousin and I mean, we were first, second grade, so we really didn't, you know what I mean? And it was one of those things that, and it's like that to this day, but not with me because I speak up. Things you don't talk about.
You did or not?
Back, I told my mom, and she just, oh my gosh, and then that was it. Like, there was no conversation. You didn't talk about it. You don't say that. You don't make our family look bad. Like, it's all about appearance, and it was just like, okay, well then I guess that was normal, you know what I mean? Because I would have thought my mom, if it's something bad, I've seen how my mom reacts. Hell, my mom used to explode when her ex-boyfriend like cause she'd come home from work and he'd be taking a nap, and she didn't cook dinner. She'd freaking flip a bitch. But when I told her that, she was just like, okay, like, and like, what do you want me to do about it?
Do you think it's because it was normalized to your mom growing up in the 70s to where something like that could happen, and you're like, do you think that ever happened with maybe your mom at one point where she just thought like, yeah, so that's just what you do?
No, I can honestly say from what it never happened to my mom. My mom wasn't even allowed to have, like, even when her guy cousins would come over, they were not allowed to be out of my grandfather's sight. Like, my grandfather was extremely overprotective of his daughters. I don't know the exact reason why. Maybe because back then it would happen and they wouldn't talk about it. So never, ever in my life, and I'm almost 40, never ever in my life did they ever mention how my mom or her sisters were ever sexually assaulted or anything like that. Never.
Yeah, it would have came up by now.
Yeah.
Okay, so first grade, second grade, do you still see that dude?
Every once in a while, he'll pop up and like go to my grandma's, because even though his father passed away and my grandma and his dad had divorced a while back, but they were already adults, so he still sees her as mom. So he would go see her every once in a blue moon. But I don't really, if I'm being honest, I don't really talk to my family at all.
Was it just kissing, or was it, I hate to say just kissing, was it just kissing, or was there like touching and groping and shit too?
There was some heavy petting. But like I said, we were just like in second grade. It wasn't until I was older that I realized that that shit is not normal.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Have you ever felt like saying something to him when you seen him last?
I do, and but I'm just like, every time I go to speak up to somebody about something, my mom's like, Connie Murray, and like literally to try to shut me up. And I'm just like, stop trying to shut me up. Like,
Yeah,
stop trying to silence me. And Connie Murray, cut it out, cut it. And she will start an argument just so I don't, and then change the whole topic. And she'd rather argue with me than
yeah,
me tell the family secrets. You know what I mean? Like, or she'll like gaslight and flip it around and be like, oh, well, that, and I'm just sitting here like, dude, like, do you not hear yourself right now? Like, I'm sitting here like, I'm trying to tell you something. This needs to come to light. Like 3 out of your 6 grandchildren were SA'd under your care, and you want to keep it hush hush, like, oh, I can't tell you who, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. My older brother was one of the perpetrators, and it's just like, oh no, let me defend him. Oh, he's going to therapy. You have to understand the things that and I'm just sitting here like, you should be speaking up so that we don't have our children around these people. Like,
yeah.
but she would rather argue about something that's not relevant. When I say not relevant, I mean like she will literally argue and be like, she's in one breath, she's like, Connie has never lied to me because I can't lie. Like, I can't lie with the damn, never could, you know? And then she'll be like, well, then she did lie to me this one time. Like, when did I lie to you? She's like, well, when you joined the army, you lied. I said, I wasn't there when you signed the papers. I was at school. You told me afterwards. The recruiter calls me at home telling me, oh, your mom signed the papers for you to go to MAPS. I wasn't there. I didn't lie to you. So that was not Connie that lied to you. And she'll argue about that just to change the subject, just to change it.
Did you say her older brother was a perpetrator?
My older brother was a perpetrator.
Oh, with you?
Yes, and
This later on.
mm-hmm.
Okay, let's get there. Let's not to let's move on. So second grade, that happens with your step uncle.
Mm-hmm.
We'll call him your step uncle. And that was the first time. And how long was it until you realized something was wrong there? Older, like high school older, or like middle school older? Like, do you remember what made you remember that time?
So,
Like, did it stick with you?
so in middle school, um, I had a crush on this boy, and he like planted a kiss on me. It was like a chicken peck, and I was kind of like taken aback by it, and I was just like, and you probably know him. He was a park kid. I'll put it in the.
Yep.
He was a park kid.
Okay. Yep.
And I was
Anthony.
like, mm-mm.
Okay. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I was taken aback, and like I used to hang out with his cousin, and she was like, "Oh yeah, my cousin thinks you're cute and stuff." And then my brother was just like, "Why are you scared to kiss him?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Like I just was uncomfortable." And so he was like, "Do you need practice?" And so there we go again. And he showed me and my female cousin to remind us, like, this is how you kiss. And then next, he slips his tongue out. I'm like, whoa, and stuff. It was just, it was crazy. And I was just like, okay, this does not feel right. Like, your sibling is not supposed to show you how to kiss someone. And my we became extremely close, which was really weird. It was a weird dynamic. And as I got older,
He taught he is this the same girl cousin
mm-hmm,
that your step uncle?
yeah,
And so and your brother also taught her how to kiss
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Okay. Have you and your girl cousin ever talked about either situation?
No, we actually don't talk anymore.
Okay.
It was just so much stuff that I feel like that we didn't talk about, that we would argue about the most minute things. And now we just, to the point we just don't talk, like,
Yeah.
at all. Like, we don't even, she lives by my mom's house, and I would go there with the kids, and she won't even speak to me. Like, we
Okay.
wouldn't even talk at all. And then when I was a freshman in high school, and I was dating, I don't know if you know this person. They went to Haviland. Um, there was the the only kid that I dated in the
Yeah.
town.
Yeah.
Okay. And our relationship was, we were on and off a lot throughout high school since 8th grade. So I was in 8th grade. He was a year younger.
I know.
And we were on and off. And one of the topics that we had talked about was being intimate. And all of our friends had already done it. And I was just not ready. I was just not ready to do it. And I remember my older brother's friend was there. I'll use his nickname. I hope he don't use his name anymore. They called him Worm. And they were hanging out at the house, and he wasn't even supposed to be there. We weren't allowed to have people in the house. My mom wasn't home, and I was in my room, and my brother calls me out, and he was like, "Hey, I was just talking to Worm, and I was telling him, how, such and such and you and stuff like that." And my brother was like, "He's going to help you, so you're not scared." And I was just like, "Help me how?" So my brother goes and he takes us to my room, and my brother shuts the door so I couldn't get out. And that was the first time that I was sexually assaulted, where I was actually raped by my brother's friend, and he was there outside the door, and I was telling him to get off of me, and he would not get off of me. And it was, again, my brother and I were close because we were the only ones that had the same mom and dad. And it was just a weird dynamic. And I was just like, this was not okay, And after that, it's just my mental health deteriorated, but I didn't realize. That's when I really started drinking. I really started getting high. Like your friend that you mentioned in the beginning, me and his now wife, would be out. We would skip class and drink because she had a car, and we would go drink, and we'd hang out with another girl that lived up the street, and we'd go to her house because her parents weren't home, and we'd drink, and we'd skip chemistry to go get drunk and smoke and stuff. And it started getting that's when it got really, really, really bad, was after that. Because I was just like, wait, like, this is my brother. Like, this isn't supposed to happen. Yes. Like, this wasn't supposed to happen. So it was just like, I don't have anybody to talk to about it. Because the first time I mentioned it to my mom, she brushed it off. So it was like, who do I talk to about it? And my mom was the type of mom that she thought, oh, well, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to do this. That way because it's going on. And I'm just like, as an adult, I'm like, girl, you were having relations with multiple people in the house with us in the living room. And I'm sitting here like, when you get older, you're like, that is just not freaking normal. And the fact that you try to normalize that, to normalize what has gone on with us as children, because a sibling, I couldn't imagine if my son shuts the door while his sister is being violated. Like, I could not. And I mean, he punched the kid in the face for making a stupid comment about my daughter. He would never, like, it was very lonely, and I was very angry. And the way I showed it was, leave me the fuck alone, everybody. And my relationship started going downhill.
And I'm sure your mom knew this dude.
She did. I mean, he would come and hang out all the time. And when he would come, I would leave. Because my brother would still have them. They used to sell weed together. And he would come, and I would leave the house. I would leave. And me as a parent, if my kid does that, I'm like, why are you leaving? What are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, you don't even have plans. You didn't have plans. All of a sudden, this kid shows up, and you're leaving. I ended up, I would go to my ex-boyfriend's house a lot. Like, we would hang out a lot.
The one in the chat.
Yeah. So I would go over there a lot. I'd find an excuse to go there. I mean, hell, we would go hang out at the baseball field at the high school. We would go hang out in Haviland playground. Like, there wasn't shit to do in Audubon. So
get fucked up.
Yeah. So, I mean, he wasn't a drinker or smoker, but he knows I did it. So it was one of those things that I would rather hang out with him and be bored and listen to his parents. And it was like, their family dynamic was different. Like, I was just like, wow, this is what a family's supposed to be. But after that all happened, he and I just butted a lot of heads. Like, we just butted heads. And then he and I, we had been intimate about that. Like, me and him had been together, like I said, on and off since 8th grade. And then after we had a pregnancy scare, I was just like, yeah, dude, I'm not fucking with you no more. I was like, I ain't doing that. So that was.
So what was it about the pregnancy scare? How old were you when you had a pregnancy scare? And what made you back off after the pregnancy scare?
I was a junior in high school, and it was just one of those things that we were being very active, and it was just it was just kind of like, to me, I just related sex as something physical. Meet a physical need. He had a physical need. I was his girlfriend. I met that physical need. That was it. Well, when I got that pregnancy scare, I was just like, oh, hell no. Like, I am not ready to be in a serious relationship. Like, this is way too serious. We've been on off since 8th grade. Like, I just don't know if this is what I want. I don't know. And junior year, we split up, and then we got back together my senior year.
Our
And
senior year.
our senior year. Yeah, we got back together our senior year. And we were together even when I left for the army. And then he cheated on me, and I never thought he would do that. I had told him I had surgery, and I came home and he came to visit me, and I had told him, like, hey, this guy, like, I was talking about basic training and stuff. I was like, this guy is just, he gave me this ring, and I showed him the ring that this guy gave me, and I'm just like, I don't even know this guy. Like, we were in line together, and you know, in our platoon, and like, he barely spoke any English. And like, as I was about to go to have surgery, he tells me that he has feelings for me and gives me this ring, and it's just like, I don't even know what to do with it. And then he was like, keep it. And I was like, keep it? He's like, yeah. And then he moves and sits on the couch across from me, and I couldn't move because I had surgery in my abdomen.
Yeah, swinging distance.
Yeah. So then he goes, and because he was acting really weird, and I didn't understand why he was acting weird. He was kind of off. And it was a different change from when I left. Like, when I left, he was crying. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't want you to leave. Like, what if something happens? And this, and we had talked, like, if we can make it through basic training, if we can make it through, then we can make it through anything. Because we've been on and off since 8th grade. Like, everyone in my family thought we were going to end up being together and get married. And that's when he told me that he had cheated on me with a family friend, his mom's friend's daughter. They're married now with kids.
Do I know her?
Huh? No, she's from Florida.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's married now with kids. He used to reach out to me every once in a blue, just like catching up, blah blah. He told me about how he got married, and I was just like, well, that's fucked. You know, like, his family thought they were going to a graduation party, a college graduation party, and she plans this whole wedding, and I'm like, that's fucked. Like, and that was literally after that conversation. He told me about his kids being born. She reached out to me having a fit. Like, why are you talking to my husband? I'm like, girl, calm down. Like, we dated in high school. Like, it's not that deep. Like, it was not this conversation. And I haven't talked to him since. His whole family ended up taking me off of Facebook and blocking me, and I haven't talked to him since. So I was just like, whatever. But yeah, after that breakup, that one, even though I felt like, it kind of hurt my feelings, because I was like, that was like the first time a guy ever cheated on me, and I didn't know how to process that. I was just like, and you knowing who it is, people would not have thunk that. And I was just like,
you think it was also the family too that you felt like betrayed? I mean, not betrayed, but like, you're like, you weren't the one that cheated on him, but yet his entire family that was like close and like never got divorced, and like the kind of family you would want to have with him, all of a sudden that whole family just like ups and blocks you when they were all close to you.
Yeah.
And you didn't even do anything wrong except for, like, go to the army.
Yeah. They were said, like, my mom was them like, you were so mean to that boy. I was not. Like, I'm like, you only heard, because back then, you had the phone. You didn't, like, you sat in the living room. We had a cordless phone, but it was in my mom's room. But like, you had the corded phone in the living room, and you sat in the living room. Everybody heard your conversation. So they would sit there and hear my side of the conversation. I'm like, this kid would want to go on a break every other freaking weekend. And at first I was just like telling him, like, why? Like, doesn't make any sense. And then finally I was like, fine, fuck it. Go on a break. You go do you, I'm going to do me. I'm not stupid. And all of a sudden I was mean because I didn't care about him. No, like, he was asking me for a break. Get your break. Go ahead. But I can't guarantee that all this is going to keep going to where I'm going to eventually come back, because I might not come back. So you better make your decision, and you better stand on it. And they're like, you were so mean to him because just like you didn't care. It's not that I didn't care. It's just that, like, after a while of going on a break, it's like common. It's just so common. Like, I was okay with we'll go on a break, do our own thing, and then get back together. And that was not normal.
Yeah.
And he would go and be with, I'll put it in the
I think I know who you're
comment.
about to say, but I want to verify. Yep.
And he would go and be with her whenever me and him would break. And at one time, he was with both of us at the same time.
The juxtaposition of you and her is wild too. Like you're completely two different people. Like completely two different people.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
So all right, let's go back to the essay stuff. That happened when you were in 8th grade, right? With that guy Worm.
Yeah.
I wonder if he got his nickname because of Friday.
I don't know. I wonder too. He used to watch that movie a lot.
Remember in Friday?
Yeah. They used to watch it a lot.
Big Worm was the drug dealer at the perm.
Yeah.
And he out of the ice cream truck.
Yep.
So maybe that's where he got the nickname from. And I was thinking Colleen, Colleen Wormuth, and everyone called her Worm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember we used to call her Worm all the time.
Yeah, because you played soccer, didn't you?
I did not.
I didn't.
No, I ended up being the manager of a whole bunch of different.
But cheerleading, you did. You did cheerleading that time of year. Okay.
I did cheer, and I was doing competition, so I wasn't allowed. I wasn't.
I was on two squads. Same. Yep, that makes sense. All right, so but you knew Colleen because everyone knew Colleen.
Everybody knew her. She was so sweet too. She did not have an enemy.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what happens, when you get sick, though. People just bail on you eventually. So it's not about her. We're gonna move on.
Yeah.
And you kept seeing him too. You would just leave, right? You would just leave the room.
I would just leave because him and my brother would hang out, and then there was like a group of them. And they would always come over.
Did your brother ever say anything to you after it happened?
No.
Just staying outside the room. He might as well have been in the room watching.
Exactly. And I remember when my brother was going through his divorce. I was married to my youngest son's father. When my brother's going through his divorce with his first wife, I had mentioned it to him, and he was just like, he's like, I don't understand. You're just so distant from everyone. Da, da, da. And I mentioned it to him. And the only thing he was like, I mean, well, my bad. That's all he's like, well, my bad. And I was just like,
my bad, bro. You let them rape me.
Yeah, I was like, okay, and I was always the one that my mom made me be there for my family. Like I was the one that was always expected to be there, and I'm just sitting here like.
Is your brother still friends with him?
I don't know because I haven't talked to my brother since 2015.
And what?
I haven't talked to him since 2015.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Been a minute.
Yeah. And it's not going to change.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that happens. Then you date, that dude off and on during high school. No essays during high school though. No problems with him. He was respectful.
No. Yeah, he was always respectful. That
I'll give him. Yeah, I'll give him that. I figured that just talking. I know exactly who he is. And I wouldn't imagine he would be anything but respectful. Besides cheating on you and shit, but that's, cheating back then is more of a confidence thing.
Mm-hmm.
People that have low confidence would cheat because they would think, well, nobody else is going to like me anyway.
Yeah.
And it's always the ones you think that, aren't going to cheat are the ones that are going to cheat because they have such little confidence in themselves that when the opportunity arises, they take it because they figure nobody else is going to want me.
Yep.
I'm not giving an excuse.
I know for sure. I know because back then, and it was weird. Maybe it's because we were in a small town, but everyone swapped boyfriends and girlfriends left and right. And I'm just sitting here like there was that one group of girls and that one group of boys, and I'm just sitting here like, you Mansion Avenue kids are freaking weird. They would swap boyfriends, but they could only swap within each other. Like within that group, they can swap and it was okay. But if an outsider came in or they thought an outsider was coming in, all hell would break loose. And I'm sitting here like, y'all are friggin' weird. Like, Y'all
Yeah.
literally all swapping spit, sharing each other. It's weird, but yeah, it was. It
I
was.
know all hell broke loose when like I was friends. I was pretty good friends with like the guys that were a year older than me,
Mm-hmm.
in Kershaw, and I know all hell broke loose when they started hanging out with the girls from Audubon before they even went to Audubon. Like the
Yeah.
girls in our grade, the
Yeah.
older guys started hanging out with the
Mm-hmm.
girls in, when you guys were like in eighth grade,
Yeah.
and all the freshman guys, friends like
Yep.
yeah, like him and all of his friends. Like
Mm-hmm.
him and I used to walk over to school together because we lived near each other. And he would tell me all these stories and shit. Like, we were good friends back in the day.
Yeah.
So I've heard all the stories. And, it was his idea for me to start becoming friends with the younger girls, because that's what ends up happening anyway, is what he would tell me.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so, but anyway, you get through high school fine. It was now I've heard and I actually had a guy on my show from the Army who experienced SA in the Army.
It
Can we
happens to
touch
women
on
a
that?
lot.
Happened to you
Yes. Um,
once?
it more than once. It's a common practice. So there's this saying that, she slept her way up to get her rank.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't trying to be that girl. Like you can keep me as an E1. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, but eventually you have to pick up rank. Eventually, when you're in AIT, you have to do this thing called phasing out to gain privileges. So, I remember this sergeant. I was a PFC at the time. I remember this sergeant, and I was like picking up. I went from an E2 to E3 really quick when I got to AIT. And I remember this sergeant was like, hey, let's just, let's all hang out. And they tell you you're not supposed to hang out. It's called fraternizing. And so we went to a bar. Now, in AIT, I was in Fort Huachuca, which is right by Nogales, Mexico. Like literally, you can cross over and you're in Nogales, Mexico. So basically you can just, they give anybody a drink there, so we go to the bar and we were drinking and stuff, and he was like, hey, I don't want you to get in trouble, so just stay in my room, and that way, because they're, they come and check, I don't want you to get in trouble. I was like, okay. Well, next thing you know, he's like pushing himself onto me, and I'm just in here like, no, and I'm like, get off of me. And he just wouldn't. He was a National Guardsman, actually. He was there for training. He from Florida, lived out there for, I'll always remember this guy, full of tattoos. And I told him to get off of me, and he wouldn't, and he just wouldn't get off. And I was fighting and fighting, and I don't care what anyone says. Like, it's 2025. I don't care what anybody says. A woman is never stronger than a man. It's just not. Like, I'm a strong female, have a strong personality, and I'm just strong in general. And men, when their adrenaline is pumping and then there's alcohol in their system, it's like they become the Hulk. And it's just like, where did this strength come from? Because when we were doing PT, you could barely get in all the push-ups you had to do. You know what I mean? Like, where the fuck did it come from? So I finally just stopped fighting, and I just laid there. And then I just got up, and I literally, it was a 45-minute walk from his room to my barracks. And I walked that 45 minutes in the dark in Fort Huachuca by myself. I'd rather take the risk of getting in trouble because I was out past curfew. And I just remember I was sharing a room with this girl. She and I were cool, and I just went in, and she's like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I just looked at her, and I just grabbed my towel, and I got in the shower, and I just let the shower water run on me, and I just cried. And I'm just like, why? You know what I mean? Like, why? Why don't they know what the word no means? No means no. It's a complete sentence. Every country knows what no means, even if they say no in a different language. No is no, and it's a complete sentence. So
Yeah, it is.
I remember her going in there, and I'm like butt naked in the shower, just sitting there, just crying. And I think she just knew, and she just hugged me. And that was just it. Like, she was just like, girl, say something.
Well,
And I'm
girls have that
like,
intuition when, like, especially with shared experiences.
yeah.
I feel like where had she been in there just as long as you have, in the army just as long as you have.
Yeah, we were both in there together. We went into the
Yeah,
military. We went into the AIT, which is your job training, together at the same time. We were in the
yeah,
same. They call them cycles, so we were in the same cycle.
yeah. So I'm sure she had an idea of what just happened. And probably
Mm-hmm.
didn't know obviously didn't know the details,
Yeah.
but I'm sure she was able to put two and two together real quick to figure out, like, oh fuck, like,
Mm-hmm. And she just sat there with me, and she kept telling me I should tell someone. And I'm just like, who am I gonna tell? He's a sergeant. Like, I'm a fucking nothing basically.
yeah.
Like, who am I telling? Who's who? Like, it's his word against mine. Like, I shouldn't have been drinking. Like, I kept thinking about what I did wrong that would get me in trouble. So I'm like, I shouldn't have been. First of all, I'm not even old enough to drink. I shouldn't have been at the bar, so I can get people at the bar in trouble. And I was thinking about everybody else. And then I'm just like, I was out past curfew. I'm gonna be on lockdown. I was just like, I'm not saying anything because I run the risk of them not believing me. But at the same time, because he was very charismatic, like he was a very charismatic person. And even after that, like he would come, like after all that happened, this was a Friday night. On Monday when we had to go to PT formation, he was what they call T spacing. So he was changing his job. So he was already in what they call the real army when you go into the army after training. But he was in a whole nother platoon because they were in a platoon all by themselves. And he
Yeah.
would walk across and he'd like look at me and I'm like trying to look straight and he would like wink at me. Or if we were having chow, I remember he would just sit down and he sat down and was talking to me and I'm just sitting there just looking at him like I
Were you
got
ever
up.
worried it would happen again?
I was. And I was just, I tried to avoid him like the plague. Like, I was just like,
Yeah.
like we had MySpace then. So he like sent me a request on MySpace and, he was just like, oh, I'm sorry, you had changed your mind and all that. And I'm just sitting here like,
You had changed your mind, motherfucker.
I'm like, okay. So that was the first time it happened in the army.
But not the only.
Not the only time. I was friends with a guy and
How long before it happened again?
it was after I had my son.
Okay.
I was friends with a guy. He was actually a Marine. I met him through my ex-husband. And he and after I had been I separated my ex-husband when I was 5 months pregnant because I found out he was cheating. So when he came back, he was like trying to make things work. I'm like, dude, I couldn't get past the fact that you cheated behind a fucking tank. Like, dude. And
Oh,
Afghan.
that was the husband that was over in Iraq, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm sitting here like I couldn't get past that. And I'm just sitting here in my mind, I'm like, the fact that she told me like she got pregnant and lost the baby means that you were sitting there hitting that raw. I'm pregnant. You could have brought me home something. Because if she's sleeping with you, she got a husband. Who else is she sleeping with? Who else are you? Like,
Yeah.
just so many things ran through your mind. And I was pregnant when I met this friend. And I just remember saying, like, he smells good. Like, I love me a good smelling guy now. I was like, he smells good. So, but I was like very pregnant. Like, this was March 2009. I had Jai April 2009. But he and I were separated. We were just going through the motions. He was not trying to get divorced. He kept sabotaging our divorce. So I'm like, well, guess we're gonna be in this little sing song. And after I had Jai, he was actually the day I had Jai, he went to the hospital. They went to the hospital together to visit me and stuff. And I remember him asking me if I wanted sushi. I'm like, dude, you clearly have never seen birth. I was like, I don't want nothing to do with fish, nothing red, nothing. I was like, no, thank you. I was like, I just want to sleep. So after that, like we and him got really close because he knew that my ex was abusing me and he actually helped me get out. And then he and I got really close and then we started to sleep with each other. It was after a year after I was already separated. We ended up sleeping with each other. We ended up being friends with benefits. And then I stopped being friends with benefits with him because I started noticing he got real possessive. And I was just like, dude, I'm getting out of a marriage, like, this is supposed to be fun. Like, we're club heads. Like, you're my dance partner. Like, I can just go anywhere with you. Like, you're like the bestie that I can sleep with. And these films were not supposed to occur. And then I remember it was my birthday, my 23rd birthday. And it was my 23rd birthday. And we were drinking. I remember they gave me a bottle of Patron. Now, by this point, I was like a full-blown functioning alcoholic. Like, I was popping a beer at 10 o'clock in the morning, like a full-fledged functioning alcoholic. And I remember they gave me a bottle. They were giving me bottles of Patron, and I downed one. We pre-gamed, and I downed one. And they're like, holy shit. Now, mind you, at that time, I was like 130 pounds soaking wet. Okay, so I'm like downing this big ass bottle of Patron pre-gaming. This isn't even we haven't even made it to club yet. Like, while I was pre-gaming, and we get to the club and he shows up, and I was just like, my friend was like, girl, and I'm like, oh shit. So finally, all the other alcohol, I mixed alcohol. I taking to the bathroom. The only time I've ever threw up, like, when I was drinking. So I'm like puking my brains out, and he says to them, I can take her home. And so they're like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, I'll take her home. It's no problem. And I was like, they're like, are you okay with going home? I was like, yeah, it's fine. I was like, but you're taking me home, right? He's like, yeah, I'm taking you home. I said, okay. So, I mean, even though we weren't seeing, like, I saw him, we were still friends. We just wasn't sleeping together no more. Well, he takes me to his place, and he's like, wait, I got to swing by here real quick. I said, okay, because I lived on base. So he's like, I got to swing by here real quick. I was like, okay. I was like, I really got to use the bathroom. So I go inside to go use the bathroom, and then I'm waiting for him to do what he was doing, and I just, like, lay on the bed, and I'm just laying like this, and I'm, like, looking up, and I'm just like, what the fuck is he doing? Next thing you know, he comes in, and I was like, can we go now? He's like, yeah, just give me a minute. And I was like, okay. So then he goes, and I go to get up. And at this point, I'm stumbling because all the alcohol is literally just, that's when Four Locos was the thing. We were mixing Four Locos with our alcohol.
Yeah, this is 2008, I take it.
2009.
2009.
Yeah. So Four Locos was the thing, and we were mixing it and stuff. So I was high, I was drunk. At that point, it hit me. I was stumbling, and I got up, and I fall. When I fall in the bed, like, I fell kind of like on my side, but like more on my stomach. And like, he like pins me down, and I had on a skirt because I always wore a skirt. And that was the first time anyone ever sodomized me. And I screamed at the top of my lungs. I had my one friend's number on speed dial. So I call her, and I'm crying. I'm bawling my eyes out. And I told her, come get me, come get me. He takes me back to the club. He's like, then that bitch can take you home. He takes me back to the club. And so I go in there, and they're like, what's wrong? And I'm like, my hair, she said, all that she can see was, she goes, when I came in, you can tell I was so disheveled. My makeup had been running. And she's like, they quickly left. It was like a big group of us. They all left. And I went to her house. And so when I went to her house, next thing you know, the next morning, the cops show up. She called the authorities.
Oh, did she? On him?
And he ended up going to the brig, which is military prison, military jail.
For how long?
He was there for almost a year before they kicked him out.
Really?
Yeah. So he would pop in and out of my life and would make it seem like, oh, but I loved you. And I'm just sitting here like, dude, you know, and even after years had passed, and that's when I went into therapy, because at that point I knew I had a problem, because I'm like, I keep allowing this to happen to me. I was so fucking drunk that I wasn't even cognitive. Like, I couldn't even stand up. Like, how do I let it get this far? You know?
Yeah.
I have 2 kids. I'm going through this terrible divorce. Like, my mom sends me back to my abuser. I'm like, something's got to give. So I went to therapy. And that was the first time I ever went to therapy. And I had gone to the doctor as well, because, you know, I went and got checked and stuff like that. And when I went to the doctor, when I went to the hospital the next day, now mind you, it's like a few hours later, he said that I had enough alcohol that it should have knocked down a 300-pound guy. and I was 130 pounds soaking wet. He said, I'm lucky I didn't die from alcohol poisoning. He's like, are you trying to kill yourself? And I was like, no, I'm just having fun. Like, having fun. And he was like, you're going to die. He's like, you're going to die. You have 2 kids. Is this what you want to leave them to be orphans? And I was just sitting there, and that sat with me. And that's when he got me linked up with a therapist, because he was like, there has to be more, like the fact that that was your response. I'm telling you, you could have died. And your thing was, I was just having fun. Like, he goes, clearly you have a few screws loose, because I just literally told you, you're 23 years old. You could have died. Like, you should have been dropped down dead. You drank enough alcohol to take down a 300-pound guy. And I was just like, okay. And that was the first time I had gone to therapy. And that's when I started. I like went cold turkey with no alcohol. I went through all the withdrawals. It was the worst experience of my life. Like, I was just like, you know, the vomiting, the shits, the cold sweats, all the things. I only thought that happened to drug addicts. I'm like, but like,
alcohol is way worse than any drug to come off of. Like, it's so fucked to think, like, alcohol is so legal and it's so in the advertisements, and it's on bench ads, on park, it's it's glorified in TVs and movies. And if you drink a lot of it and you stop on a dime, you could die, literally. Now, I could do cocaine every single day for 10 years and stop on a dime, and it's not going to kill me. The withdrawals are going to suck, but it's going to be more mental than physical. Like, cocaine withdrawals are more mental than physical. I can do heroin every day for 10 years and then stop. And the withdrawals are going to suck. They're going to suck. But it's not going to kill me. I have no risk of death. It's Xanax and alcohol are the 2 things that you can die from if you stop suddenly.
I learned that one.
Now, he got a year good. You know, I'm glad he got. I thought you had mentioned something to me before about you had touched on it for a second. I think we were talking earlier about it. Something about.
I can't. Your mic went off. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
No. Can you hear me? Your mic says it's off.
Wait, I can hear you. All right. So, what I was saying is that you had touched on it earlier. I think in chat we were talking on Instagram earlier. Something about your mom let you get SA'd by a 22-year-old when you were younger.
Oh yeah, that was. So I didn't realize. So yes, when I was 16, my mom let me sleep with a 22-year-old at her house. I didn't, because so therapy. I got into therapy and we started weeding through all this stuff. When I mentioned that to the therapist, she's like, "Your mom let a man sexually assault you?" And I said, "No, she didn't." And they said, "Yeah, she did." I said, "No, like, you know, we were just, it was New Year's, we were popping bottles of Moet, and, you know, we were feeling each other, and, you know, she let him sleep in my bed, and one thing led to another." And she said, "You were 16, he was 22. She's like, she basically let him, she gave you the alcohol, and that's when I learned that if you can't consent, if you're drunk, you can't consent.
Cannot.
So even if you're okay with it and and they're not drunk, because he was not drunk, he was not drinking, but he made sure to keep that Moet coming. She said, he sexually assaulted you and your mom allowed it.
And who was he friends with? Your mom?
He was cousins to this guy my mom was seeing at the time.
And so they were over for New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
And you had never seen this dude before?
No. Mm-mm.
And he ended up sleeping with you when you were sleeping?
Yeah.
Basically.
Mm-hmm. And and to me, I was like, no, like, my mom didn't let that happen. They're like, yeah, she did. And I was just like, I didn't see it as sexual assault at the time. I didn't. And it was just like, you know, my mom was being the cool mom, and I got to be with this older guy, and next thing you
No,
know,
he was there. He was there so he wouldn't cock block her.
basically, basically. So, and then we would go see him all the time. So she would let us hang out, and you know what I mean? Like we'd go to Yonkers and go see him because that's where he lived, in Yonkers, New York. And I didn't see it
Like
as
Queens?
anything. Huh? In
Isn't that like
Yonkers.
Queens?
It's by
Yeah,
there. Yeah, it's by there. Yeah.
yeah.
So she would drive up there twice a month. And I just thought my mom was being the cool mom. They're like, there's nothing cool about letting your 22-year-old sleep with your 16-year-old.
Oh, so you would see that dude more often.
Yeah. So whenever the boyfriend in high school would be like, oh, well, I want to go on a break. Okay. I'd go see the 22-year-old. And my mom would take me. And I'm just saying, I was like, there's nothing wrong with this. And they're like, you weren't even legally, by the law, he would have gotten charged with statutory rape. Like you were
Yep,
not legally, even though you were 16, you were not able to consent.
correct. You're not
And
old
I'm
enough to
sitting here
give
like,
consent.
yeah, and I'm like 23, almost 24, and I'm sitting here like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Like wow. Like my brother let it happen, my mom let it happen. I'm sitting here like, what do you do with this? You know what I mean? And it's just like, it was just crazy because again, I just thought I didn't see it that way. I didn't see it that way. And um yeah, so it was just one of those things where once it got pointed out, then it dawned on me. And then when I had my daughter, I was like, I could never let a 22-year-old sleep with my daughter when she's like, hell no. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
hell no. And it was just like when going through therapy, they were like, well, you've allowed it to happen. They're like, and I don't want to say it as in it's your fault, but you normalize this towards you because nobody would speak up and nobody would say this was wrong. Nobody would tell you like this should not have happened to you. Like people were letting it happen. So in your mind, you were like, okay, well maybe this is not rape. Maybe this is not sexual assault. Maybe this is not what I thought it was. Maybe I'm just being over dramatic. And they're like, no, you weren't being over dramatic. It was
no,
just you were just not taught, like you were not protected and you were not told like, don't put your hands on my child. Like, what are you doing? They're like,
yeah,
your mom is, and my mom is very emotionally mature. She's 50 something, 56. She's still emotionally mature. And I feel like a parent sometimes. And they're like, you were forced to grow up. And for many years, I just viewed sex. It was like a men's mentality. And I don't mean to like, no knock on men, but with men, when they physically cheat, it's just a physical need. I saw it as I'm fulfilling a physical need because at this point, there was nothing intimate about sex. It was just a physical need because I was always around it. I was dealing with this stuff, and it was just like at this point in my life, I was just like, it is what it is,
you don't feel that way still to this day about men, though,
No, I've
because it's definitely not all men.
no, it's not. But the men that I was with that cheated, that's what they would say. Like,
Yeah,
it's just a physical need. It's just, and they're like, and then they would like flip it on me and be like, well, you emotionally cheated because you went and spoke to this. And I was just like, is that even a thing? That's when I figured out what emotional cheating was. And, they break it down to you. And I like therapy. I've been in and out of therapy my whole life. And I like going to therapy because you learn new things about yourself. You learn new things about how to cope with things. And it's just like, you learn that the experiences that you have are not normal experiences. Because what is a normal family? But at the same time,
yeah,
even though there's no such thing as a normal family, there are normal behaviors and abnormal behaviors that shouldn't happen.
yeah.
And I'm just like, so yeah, she let a 22-year-old, and she even considered letting me move here to Georgia with him. I was a senior in high school. And that's why when she says like the whole situation with the Army, how I lied and she didn't know, I'm like, you had to have known because before I graduated high school, he wanted to bring me to Georgia and be in a serious relationship. And I'm sitting here like, I can't even take care of myself. Like, what am I gonna do with a grown ass man? And she considered it. She
That's almost like
literally,
trafficking.
yeah, she considered it. And I was just sitting here like, I have an 18-year-old daughter and 19-year-old stepdaughter, and I just couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
I'd knock somebody in their shit if they try to, grown ass man trying to sleep with my kids.
Now, after that dude ended up doing a year, you were still in and out of abusive relationships after that, like domestic abusive relationships. Do you have any other instances pop up like throughout the rest of your 20s and 30s, like with NESA?
With my ex, the old lovely one, the worst one ever.
The last one?
Yeah, he it was like whenever he wanted it, it was, even he didn't care about Lady there. He just didn't care. Like, it was one of those things where he was just like, "You're my significant other. This is what you're supposed to do." And after a while, you just become numb. And people don't understand when I say that. I'm like, you literally just, in the beginning, you're disgusted, you're scrubbing yourself clean, you're doing all those things. But after it happens so many times, and when you're in a relationship, like, you hear a husband can rape his wife, and then they're like, no, a husband can't rape his wife, and it's like an ongoing debate. And it's just like, yeah, you can rape your significant other.
Yeah.
No means no, and if they don't want to do anything, then they shouldn't have to do anything. And I'm like, at this point, I was just like, okay, well, maybe I'm not fulfilling his needs. You know what I mean? Like, maybe and you just start questioning yourself as a woman.
Yeah. So it was often then towards the end.
Yeah.
Because you didn't want to, and then he was a fucking dude that,
yeah.
I can't even imagine, like, not to get graphic, but like, I can't, like, I'm not even into like making out with my wife unless I know she's in a mood. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even like doing like foreplay with them unless I know they're in a mood.
Yeah.
Like, because like, what's the fun in that? Like, you know what I mean?
There
Like,
is none.
It's supposed to be like intimate. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be like connecting with your partner and having a good time and loving each other and trusting each other and that let yourselves in. Like, I wouldn't be able to get off in a situation like that if I knew they were like feeling like forced to.
Yeah.
Let alone just like laying there like a fucking dead body, like while you just like get on top and hump. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
He was a severe alcoholic too, like bad. Like, I mean, I would go. So Friday he would get paid, and like we have a porch, and he would sit on the porch, or if he went to his mom's house, he'd sit on her step, and he literally drank Friday until Sunday morning, crash out Sunday, wake up for work Monday like nothing. I mean, he used to piss his pants. That's how drunk he would get.
And that's fucking crazy. Like, so about a month ago, I think I've been having some health problems, right? Like, I've been at the doctor's a lot lately. I got urology tomorrow. I've been having a ton of health problems, and it all started with on August 20th. I went to lay down, went to go sleep, and I woke up an hour later and I pissed the bed. And like, I'm stone sober, you know what I mean? Like, I never pissed the bed in 20 plus years of daily drinking.
Yeah.
Not once, never one accident. And then like I get a shower and I clean off the bed and all that. And as we're changing, I wake up my wife and we're changing the sheets. I'm apologizing a million times. As we're changing the sheets, I had to run to the bathroom 2 more times to pee again. I felt like I had to pee the entire time. And like, literally, like, and then I pissed the bed the rest of the night.
Damn.
And I woke up and I still felt like I had to pee the rest of the night. And like, literally, like, pain, like, felt like I had to go. And they weren't sure if it was a UTI. Did a urine test, wasn't a UTI. They weren't sure if it was kidney stones. Did a ultrasound, and did an extensive blood panel, not kidney stones. So, I hopefully by the time this comes out, I have an answer what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, since August 20th, I've been having all these health problems. I lost 30 pounds in 20 days at one point.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Like literally August 20th, I weighed X amount. And then I went to the doctors 20 days later and I was 30 pounds less.
Oh, damn.
Without exercising, without eating differently, anything like that. That's just straight up just like lost it.
Yeah, that's not normal. So hopefully
No.
everything comes out if they find out what's going on and stuff.
Yeah. But I think moral of this episode is no is a complete sentence.
It is.
No is a fucking complete sentence.
And you cannot consent if you're intoxicated. If you're under the influence.
I would hope you're teaching your son this stuff too, right?
Oh, I will. Like, my son knows I would beat the brakes off of him. Like, I'm like, oh, no is no. Like, if you guys are if you have alcohol in your system, don't even try it. Like, I go down the whole entire spiel. He went through some stuff growing up, and he's just it's just one of those things where he's just like, nah, Mom, I'm good. Like, and he's he has Asperger's. He's high functioning autistic. He's super freaking smart. He had a girlfriend. I'm like, dude, but he acts like a 16-year-old would. That's supposed to act like a 16-year-old.
Good.
And I tell him, like, he's like, Mom, I know. I'm like, I'm just gonna drill it into you because, like, anything can happen. A girl can sit there. If she's intoxicated, don't fucking touch her.
Yeah.
Don't touch her. I don't care if she's into it. No, don't fucking touch her. Just leave her. Just lay her down and walk out the room. Don't even lay in the bed. I work in correctional healthcare, and I literally saw a kid get arrested. The girl was intoxicated. They were both intoxicated. She had passed out. And I told my kids this story. Is what I tell my son, do not lay in a bed with a girl when she's intoxicated. She goes to the bathroom. She comes back naked and lays in the bed. Wakes up. This kid gets locked up because she accused him of inappropriately doing stuff to her while she was drunk. He was proven to be innocent. He had people there and people were like, no. He didn't touch her. He was passed out. Like, she had passed out. He threw her on the bed. Like, everybody else was partying. They just crashed. She got up, went to the bathroom. She came out naked. We're like, what the fuck are you doing? And she goes and passes back out on the bed. Nothing happened. Thank God he had people there to say that. But I'd say that to say, like, that girl's accusation could have changed his whole life.
100%.
And he was a college student. Like, I think he was like a sophomore in college. And I'm sitting here like, dude, and he was like in tears. He's like, I didn't touch her. I didn't touch that bitch. I didn't touch her. And I'm like, hey, I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to just give you medical care. You know what I mean? Like, so I tell my kids that story all the time. Like, no is no, and you cannot consent if you're under the influence of anything, weed, alcohol, whatever. You cannot consent. The law says you can't consent.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll be back, Connie.
Yeah.
Sure you'll be back. Hit me up if you ever need anything. We'll hop on and we'll do another session.
Yeah, sounds good. It was good talking to you.
You too. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right, bye.